Boy, you'd never know by this scene that major hurricane just ripped through the south part of Florida, the southwest part of Florida to be more exact. Absolutely gorgeous out there, 84 degrees, about 5:30 in the evening here in the southeast portion of Florida right there. Enjoying electricity's on, everything's working, no major issues. Again, in the Dade, Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County, southeast region of Florida. I think the Keys have had some issues with power outages and some flooding, but not quite like our Western brothers in our Western brothers in Western Florida, who really got hit hard in the southeast region of Florida there. So far, not looking too good, but I talked about this in the video a couple days ago before this hurricane hit, that those are low-lying areas. We've never really had a hurricane kind of come straight into that southern region there. A couple have threatened, but have never hit, and quite like that with the amount of surge that we've seen. Again, if you know the Gulf Coast of Florida, you realize, you take a look here. We're in a very unique perspective here on the southeast side of Florida for you folks that are new down here and not familiar with this, and some of you folks that don't live in Florida and have no reason to know this. But north of here is an inlet that I take my boat out of, and if we go probably, I'm not even say maybe 10 miles offshore, not even 3 miles off, anywhere from 3 to 10 miles offshore, we're already in like a couple hundred feet to over 1,000 feet of water pretty easily. So this shoreline right here drops out, out of the end of the pier here. It's not that deep. It's still probably about 10 feet or 12 feet during high tide, maybe a little bit higher. But it drops off quite a bit way out there into the 1,000, 2,000 feet level. The Gulf side of the Florida, and again, this is not an education on how our geography works down here and why we're kind of somewhat protected against storm surge and the other coast is not. But the other coast, the Gulf Coast, their bottom goes on for a long time. You can literally go up to some Gulf Coast beaches and walk out way past where this pier is and still be up to knee deep or waist deep water. The Gulf is very shallow in most of the areas near the peninsula of Florida, and when you get that shallow water, unlike here in the southeast region where we've got really super deep water out here not too far, that water just builds up and it comes into the inlets, and that's exactly why we've seen the major flooding there. Again, sorry, didn't mean to digress, but man, being a Floridian myself and watching the pain and the agony that these people are going through on the other side of the coast, I didn't want to turn this into a hurricane video because there's many of them you can watch out there, but folks, like I say here in southeast Florida, thankfully it was not us this time. And no matter where you live in the world, I guess California has to deal with earthquakes and stupid politicians, not earthquakes. But no matter where you live in the country, you got to deal with natural disasters and such, whether it's flooding, earthquakes, you name it. In Florida, we've been pretty lucky here in the southeast coast since, what was it, Irma, Wilma, and those hurricanes that kind of came through here, but nothing like what they got over there. But again, we're not prone to the type of flooding that they are in the inland tidal surge like they are. Well, all right, let me get into the other big storm that's happening out there, which is the economy, gold prices, silver prices, the stock market, you name it. Gold prices, silver prices, and platinum prices rocketing up, not rocketing them up, going up a lot, but 1661.19 holding its own above that 1650 level. Let me see if it's updated yet. I didn't update this for a few minutes, and nope, still closed. Another 2 minutes. Maybe we'll hit back and see what the opening is. I'm sure it's going to be about the same here, not too far off. 1661 gold, silver's 1884, platinum 1866, and let's see here what was. Kind of looks like overall the low was in the 1850 range, and in New York, and the low was 1642. So up on gold, silver, and platinum, even though you do see an 8 cent down there. Looking pretty good for metals as far as prices go, and Palladium, we don't follow that, so I'm not even going to get into that. The real thing is premiums on gold, silver, and platinum shot up dramatically. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to go look at. I'm going to give SD Bullion a little bit of love, competitive love that is, because I'm going to beat their prices if you live in South Florida or you're buying large amounts anywhere in the continental U.S. But I'm going to take a look at their prices because I think they're a large, competitive, good company, and product availability on a lot of the stuff is just not available through SD. Again, I'm not. I don't use them because I disrespect them. I use SD Bullion because I think that they're big 800-pound gorillas online that have very competitive prices, and they're honest, and you will get the product that you ordered. But why am I pumping them up like this? Because I can beat their prices. So if you live in South Florida, you definitely need to come and see me as far as buying gold, silver, and platinum. But I'm going to get into that in a moment here. Meanwhile, something's changed a little bit here. The pattern that I've been watching for a little while with the Dow Jones, S&P, NASDAQ being up or down and gold doing the same thing has changed dramatically. I was expecting to see with the Dow Jones, S&P, and NASDAQ down substantially like they are or were today. Look at that, another 458 points, 314, 1.5%, 2%, 2.84% on the NASDAQ, and gold up a little bit. Gold not following in the same direction. Of course, you know, Friday's a whole different day, tomorrow's a whole different day, and let's do a refresh. Let's see what the open's at right now. If that opens up really, okay, another minute, we'll see the open here. But the trend that I've seen that gold has been following the Dow Jones, S&P, and NASDAQ overall is kind of broken a little bit today, which surprises me. These three markets typically in the last couple months when they've been in the red, so has gold. And where gold goes, silver ultimately follows. Remember, gold is the big brother, silver the crazy, wild middle child, and platinum being the younger one, which sometimes seems to be telegraphing where gold and silver is going to go. But again, these are just crazy macro type patterns that I recognize because I've watched these markets. But again, it's kind of backed off. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Let's see if gold stays the same or rises a little bit with the Dow Jones, S&P, and NASDAQ staying in the red or staying about the same. I'd be curious to see if that trend gets broken. Something strange going on, though. Metals do seem to be going up, and it has nothing to do with, folks, it has nothing to do with inflation. It has nothing to do with the Fed raising rates. The only reason gold and silver and platinum are going up is because of the manipulators in the markets where they're discovered, in the Crimex markets, LBMA markets, are allowing it to go up right now. So that pretty much said it like it is. So let's move into that. And again, I don't want you to get discouraged by that. Take that as knowledge of learning how the game is rigged. And when you know how the game is rigged, you're a much better player, which means buy the frickin' dips and buy physical. That's just my opinion. Let's take a look at what Ted Butler talks about here. In this is in his newest newsletter. But again, this is just, I'm not sharing anything that's he hasn't said repeatedly in his newsletters in one form or another in the same exact manner, which I'm going to read to you here in his newest newsletter. And what I'm saying there is I'm not really giving out proprietary information here that Ted doesn't talk about all the time. His newsletters are wonderful, and I highly recommend, if you're not subscribed to, let's see if I can show you here. Well, here, let me read this first because I did highlight this area. He does talk about physical tightness in this article, but one thing that Ted's been talking about a long time, and for you new folks, you new stackers, you folks out here that haven't heard me talk about this 600 frickin' times, 1,000 times about the manipulation and where it occurs, let me read a couple quotes here from Ted, a couple paragraphs here. Of course, surging physical silver and gold demand and collapsing prices can occur for no reason, and such a reason certainly exists. In fact, there is only one possible reason to explain the conundrum of surging demand and physical tightness and sharply lower prices, and it is the same reason I have advanced for more than 35 years in ongoing price manipulation on the COMEX. While I'm gratified that more observers, and this is absolutely true, and this is the importance why I think we're seeing changes in these markets for many reasons, including large entities and people like the stackers at Wall Street Silver, and people understanding how these markets are rigged and why buying physical is so important. But I digress. Ted says here, while I'm gratified that more observers than ever seem to have come to the grasp of the basics of long-term COMEX price manipulation, somewhat ironically, we appear to have reached or extremely close the termination point of the long-running price manipulation, regardless of public awareness. And I feel the same way. Things are just, we're in a dynamic, strange place right now, folks. Of physical tightness, I mean, it's huge. I mean, look at premiums. We're going to get into that in a moment. I'm going to talk about SD's premiums are just being crazy right now. And SD just didn't raise their premiums. They're having a hard time finding silver, gold, and platinum, just like every other seller of investment type metals out there. And probably manufacturers as well. And let's go on from here. Somewhat ironically, we appear to have reached or extremely close to the termination point of long-running price manipulation, regardless of public awareness. I repeated that because that's very important to repeat. I think, folks, that we're about to see the upside to these extremely monkey-hammered low markets we've seen in the manipulative COMEX, CRIMEX markets. And the key feature, and Ted says here, and I'm going to read this right here, is the key feature of the 4 decades old COMEX price manipulation has been the ability of tight-knit group of large traders classified as commercials, mostly banks, to sell future contracts short in unlimited quantities to cap and contain silver and gold prices. Again, this is something that we have talked about, you and I, for hundreds and hundreds of times, how this is done. But again, I want to articulate this a little bit. I'm not always good at articulating this. Ted Butler does a wonderful job, and this is why I want to read this to you as well. Again, highly recommend that if you're not subscribed to his newsletter, you buy a lot of silver, or you have a reason to want to know a lot about silver, definitely subscribe to Ted's newsletters at butlerresearch.com. And let me move along from here as well. This resulted in COMEX silver having the largest concentrated short position of any commodity for 40 years when compared to actual world production. A key component of the manipulated unlimited short selling was the refusal of the commercial short sellers to ever buy back and cover short positions on rising prices, only when prices fell. This was the key to absolute price control. Very, very important paragraph here that I need to point out. I've got it highlighted. Stop this video, read this a couple times. Again, the key component of how COMEX, the big commercials weren't out there to screw you and I or make us pay more from our local dealers or make it harder for your local dealer to get silver. The big commercials were out there simply rigging these markets, doing what they do best, is taking advantage of these gray areas and these loopholes, and they're really not loopholes. If COMEX had done its job properly, the CME group and the LBMA, this type of collusive manipulative behavior wouldn't happen, but they don't because they make a lot of money from these trades. Again, I don't want to digress too far from here, but definitely stop this video and read this, let this sink in for a little bit. Meanwhile, if you've already let that sink in, I'm going to read the rest of this. And we're almost there. Again, I'm not reading Ted's whole newsletter. One of Ted's brilliant things is that he reads the COT reports, gives you his opinion on what's happening with SLV. Again, another reason why I love reading his reports. And what I'm reading to you here, the few paragraphs, is simply a rehash of something that Ted talks about all the time. Okay, I'm talking too much here. Limited by choice to only buying back short, he's talking about the commercial banks, limited by choice to only buying back short positions on lower prices. Otherwise, prices would explode higher. The only way for the COMEX commercial shorts to buy back and cover the maximum number of short contracts was to create the price environment most suited to getting other large COMEX traders to sell short and replace the commercial shorts. All right. Again, if this gets a little heavy for you, and it does a little bit, I mean, unless you understand how short selling operates and how the COMEX markets and these commodity markets operate, how they're able to use leverage and how they're able to do this, it is very confusing. But Mr. Butler is probably, out of all the other people out there, explains it better than anyone else. And again, let me not make this video longer than need be by explaining the obvious to some of you. Fortunately, Okay, getting other large shares sell certain replace commercial shorts. Exactly. Fortunately for the commercial traders, there existed such a group of traders classified as managed money traders, willing to sell a large but not unlimited number of short contracts under the right technical conditions. The right technical conditions were essentially steadily falling prices, and this was right up the commercials' alley since they had sufficient means of dictating prices. Think about spoofing, and Ted's exactly right. Think about J.P. Morgan spoofing. Think about all these other companies that have been caught spoofing the price down in order to control the overall direction of the price of gold and silver. This is the last little quote I'm going to read here without going into more detailed stuff. And again, that's why you want to subscribe, to read the detailed stuff. Therefore, maximum commercial short covering could only be met with maximum managed money short selling under a price sell-off that was an epic in both time and scope. The sell-off had to be both pronounced but also consistent and of such duration so as to entice the managed money traders to fully load up on the short side. A sell-off that could be termed the mother of all sell-offs, as I recently termed it. It appears to me that the 6-month sell-off in COMEX, gold and silver, from the top on March 8th, the day that LME, and this is not coincidental, folks. Ted Butler brings this up. The sell-off in COMEX in gold and silver was at the top of the market March 8th, the day of the LME nickel default. Again, coincidence or not, I tend to think that's not a coincidence, and that the LME actually COMEX actually saw the writing on the wall with the LME nickel default, and the reason that the COMEX short positions are so low, and again, something Ted talks about in some of his articles as well. That is the reason why. When gold hits its all-time high of 2080 and silver hits its 2750, and again, this was back in March 8th of this year, fully qualifies as the epic sell-off required to induce maximum managed money shorting and maximum commercial short covering. Maybe there's a bit more to go, but not much in Ted's opinion. I agree 100% with Ted that this manipulation is pretty much done and over with, or we're seeing bottom or near bottom, unless we just see a completely catastrophic failure in all the markets across the board, which could happen in the paper markets and gold and silver as well. But I think we're pretty much near the bottom. We're seeing the bottom, and if not, keep buying those dips, folks. And don't be discouraged. I encourage you to back this video up and reread this stuff I shared with you. Again, something that Ted Butler discusses with people all the time, and I think it's important for you folks to know this as well. Of course, the game is rigged, and the game is rigged in all parts of our lives. Whether it's the markets out there, whether it's the I've said elections as well. Okay, everything's rigged out there against us. We're not always getting the truth, and gold and silver markets, particularly, especially silver markets, such a small marketplace that's been rigged for 40 years by these big commercial banks that have been a rinse and repeat, knocking out these big, again, managed money longs. So knowing how the game is rigged is real important, especially when you're dealing with a 5,000-year-old commodity like gold and silver, been around forever, never going to go bankrupt, never going to just turn to zero, turn to nothing. Central banks covet it, despite what a lot of people say, oh, gold's a relic, gold, nobody wants gold. Why do you think the central bankers covet it? Why do you think Russia, China, India, all these other countries covet gold and silver and keep trying to build up the reserves? Why? Because they know it's real money. Meanwhile, take advantage of their wretched paper markets and their wretched manipulation and stuff more of that real stuff in your pocket. Stay away from the, my opinion again, stay away from the paper nonsense. All right, let me move into what I was going to talk about earlier, which is I do really, really well. My specialty is I've been doing this since 1977, buying and selling gold, silver, platinum, rare coins, and other things. Now, in 1977, was I an experienced guy? No, I just told you I started in 77. But I've been doing this a long, long time. Second generation, and bullion is really easy. If someone worked for, people that work for me in a short period of time, I can teach them the bullion business. I can also teach them what to look for and what my opinion moves prices around, manipulation, and other things. But what I do really well is product. What are the best deals out there? What are not the best deals out there? And again, people say, Brian, you're a dealer. You buy and sell gold and silver. Why do you show SD? Why do you talk about Atmex, JM Bullion, Miles Franklin? Why do you talk about all those guys? Well, again, the reason I bring them up and talk about them because they are the big boys out there when it comes to selling gold, silver, and platinum products. I also respect them greatly. However, I am highly competitive, and I can do just as good a job as SD, Atmex, JM, and Miles Franklin when it comes to pricing, giving good advice, and all that good stuff. So that's why I use them as guidelines on prices and all that thing, simply to show you whose prices I can beat. All right. There's my shameless little plug for myself. And meanwhile, they are great companies. I just happen to be able to beat their prices. 90%, absolutely outrageous prices, but really surprised the shit out of me is that SD Bullion is out. Take a look at that. Notify me. Notify me. Notify me. Notify me. Couple things going on here, folks. And I tend to believe that perhaps the telegraphed by that big whale, Miles Franklin, who was it? Andy Sheckman, I'm sorry, and the guy that him put that deal together, put the telegraph out there a month or two ago, a couple of months ago, that this whale was going to go back in and buy more stuff. And oddly enough, here we go. Huge, stupid premiums on 90% Silver Eagles. And actually, SD doesn't even have any. Wow. I've got small quantities of this stuff right here, but not a lot. I laid it off to the dealers. I refuse to sell retail customers 90% at $8, $9, and $10 premiums and Silver Eagles at a $15 premium. I just refuse to do it. I laid all our stuff here off personally to all the dealers out there that are willing to buy at these stupid prices that this stuff is bringing right now. I'm just not comfortable selling this stuff to my customers, especially Silver Eagles and 90%. You know my thoughts on that. Everything across the board, though, all the frickin' silver products are crazy premiums right now, folks. I was looking at American Silver Eagles. Take a look at this. Now, mind you that I don't use this silver price. Let's take a look at silver prices, by the way, and I'll show you a little something here. Atmex, SD, JM Bullion, all use higher silver prices in reality. Ooh, look, silver's up, gold's up in the opening. This is probably a good sign for tomorrow. Hear that? That was my wooden head I was knocking on. I was being hopeful there. Let's see what happens. Meanwhile, let's take a look at SD's prices on what they have out there. American Silver Eagles. Oh, look, silver is $18.90 right now. I mean, that's probably pretty close to what the price is, give or take 5 cents. And SD Bullion is showing $19.08. I find that SD, Atmex, JM, their silver prices, their ask prices are usually 15 cents higher than what we use here in the store, at least 10 cents higher. So I got to take that into account when we're pricing stuff. You know what, folks? I just looked outside to see all the people walking along the sidewalk and the beautiful weather that we've got going on here. Wow, what a lovely evening. Lots of people walking down the sidewalk and lots of beautiful sights as well. Oh, it's nice to live near a beach. Anyways, let me get my attention back on the computer screen, which I am not watching at the moment, and talk about silver. 35.75. And we'll use their silver price right here of 1908. No way. No way. Do you know what kind of premium that is? $16.67. That's their low premium. Fuck. Oh, I almost said the F word in it. Oh my God. Silver Eagles have got that ridiculous premium. The buy price is up dramatically too. Let me take a look and see what the average dealer buy price is up out there. Folks, another great opportunity, even though I think silver bars have gone up in value as well and are a little harder to find. Take a look at the premium of Silver Eagles. The sealed boxes or Silver Eagles in general, $9 to $10 is what the wholesale buy price is. It could be a little higher than that right now from some dealers, a little bit lower, but $9 to $10 on average is the buy price. And SD, while I bet they have very limited quantities, is getting $16.67 in their low quantities. $16 over spot. Stay the frick away from Silver Eagles for sure, folks. These are, whoever's paying too much for them out there, if it's this giant whale that's in there buying again another $50 million worth of gold and silver, let them own that overpriced shit. I mean, not shit. Silver Eagles are a great product, don't get me wrong. overpriced shit premiums. That's what I should say. Same thing with 90%. Stay away from it. In fact, I'm going to tell you that you could probably trade your 1 ounce American Silver Eagles right now for generic silver 1 ounces, 10 ounces, kilos, and again, no money out of your pocket, and walk out. You could walk out of here with more silver in your pocket with no money out of your pocket by trading your Silver Eagles for silver bars and stuff. And trust me, a lot of people saying, Brian, you just want to buy Silver Eagles. No. As soon as I buy them sons of bitches, I'm going to sell them immediately to the wholesale guys that are going to immediately sell them to whatever poor suckers that paying these kind of premiums for them, because I will not sell these to my customers. I'm actually out because I've sold them all wholesale. Same thing with 90%. As soon as I get enough of it, I wholesale that crap out. I don't want to sell it to my customers. Overpriced. Take advantage of these overpriced things by trading them in for what are better deals. Again, kilos are better deals. 100-ounce bars are better deals. All that stuff. And I can do great trades for you folks. How many times do you walk into a place and walk out with more silver with no out-of-pocket money? You know, you walk into a place with 100 ounces and you walk out with 120 ounces or whatever of silver with no money out of pocket. I can do that for you. If you don't live in my area and you can't do business with me, I suggest you find someone that can, because right now is a great time to take advantage of those ridiculously high premiums. What's the best deal out there? Let me see. I've got Royal Canadian Mint bars. I've got a lot of them. I'll beat SD's prices. What is their low as price? And how many do you have to buy? Okay, that's just one. Let's see. They're selling for $23.67 per ounce. If you just kind of round that up a little bit. They're using 1908 as a silver price. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry about that. 23.67 plus 19.08 minus, and of course I did the math again. Wrong. Sorry about that. 23.67 and 19. I forgot the decimal. Minus $4.59. So if you need 100-ounce Royal Canadian Mint bars, while they do have them in stock, I can beat their price for sure. And I'm sure they've got the lowest prices of anyone out there. But I'll still beat their prices. And let's see what else. Man, $4.59 for 100-ounce bars. That's just freaking crazy. What else is out there? That's a good deal. Definitely not Silver Eagles. You know my opinion on that. I have got kilos. Kilos and kilos and kilos and kilos. Which I can definitely beat the price of. I got Swiss kilos made by Metal Ore coming in. I've also got some other kilos. Who are the kilos made by that I got? I think they're Metal Ore as well. Swiss Metal Ore, Swiss PAMP, whatever you want to call them, Swiss Metal Ore bars. And I can beat their prices as well on that. But take a look at that. That just surprises me. Lack of product, just lack of product. A lot of notify me's out there. Surprisingly, gold too, same thing across the board. Let's take a look at the SD Bullion. Again, giving SD a little bit of love, even though I can beat their prices. Still giving them love. And U.S. gold, let's look at available gold. Let's see, what do they have for available? In stock gold. Gold Eagles went up again. New price sheet out. Folks, they're at like 195 over for small quantities. Let's see what JD, I'm mixing SD Bullion is getting for them. And they're getting for a roll. Again, I'll beat their quantity prices here, but let's just say one Gold Eagle. Stay away from double Eagles right now. They're still overpriced, although that's not too bad actually, but I can still beat that number. Same thing with that. Not too bad. But remember, there's only 0.96 ounces. So what are they using for gold? $16.70. So a $20 gold piece only has 0.96, $1,615 worth of gold. So you're paying 16, 17, 18. You're paying $200 and something premium for 20s. I don't think it's worth it, folks, at all, in my opinion. Well, I wouldn't put you into them if you ask me. Where are 1 ounce gold Eagles? It looks like they have them by the tube. Really? Hang on. Here we go. 1 ounce coins. There we go. As low as, let's use their 1 through 10 price, because most working folks are in that 1 to 10 level. Again, even if you're buying more, I'll beat their price. 1855, let's say 1856 because they're pennies away from that. 1856, let's use their gold price, again, which is higher than mine. I don't do that. I don't raise my gold prices here any higher. And we're using 1663.70. Let's see what they're using for a gold price. Oh, 1670, $7 higher. But I'm gonna use their gold price here of 1670 and tell you what they're getting for gold eagles. And 65 minus $185 over. Like I said, folks, I can beat that price, but I would not recommend buying gold eagles. I would recommend buying 1-ounce gold bars. And I think they're at spot plus $74 or so. As I said, I will beat or match that price as well. Those are the best deals out there as far as what we're selling here at Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals and ConciergeBullion.com. Meanwhile, lots of love to SD Bullion for a wonderful website, competitive prices, and what else was I going to say? Being a admirable, honest company, along with APMEX, JM Bullion, and Miles Franklin. But here, what am I going to say? I can beat their prices, folks. So let me move along here and close this video out for the evening. You notice I didn't talk about politics for a little while. A lot of you are just so sick of it. And I do talk about it. I like talking. I enjoy talking about politics and all that stuff. Oh, hang on. You know what we do got to talk about is yesterday's video. Let me, here, you can watch me navigate through all my junk here and see how unorganized I am. I don't even have a link for this. Don't even have a link for this. And where are my videos? My videos. Daily gold and silver. There we are right there. Let's talk about yesterday's video, which was really terrible. No, I shouldn't say that. I just wasn't in the mood. It was a quick one. I think it was to the point. And usually when I say they're terrible, everyone tells me they weren't that bad. I'm my own worst critic. Be prepared for the storm. 15-minute video. But man, I just had a long day. That storm, even though it didn't hit me, just watching it sucked the energy out of me.
Here are 5
I've been
reasons
there.
why-
But no, I haven't been there. I've not been in the situation. That's a horrible situation. I've been in storms. I know my situation, and wow. Because it just, again, that whole storm just sucked the energy out of all of Florida, I think. I know a lot of people probably feel the same way that don't even live in Florida. Yesterday's video was gold and silver price report was be prepared for the storm. Good title. And I like the John Wayne quote that was at the beginning of that yesterday. And let me move down here to the bottom. True Clayton. Algorithms, monument metals. They may have, but really I can't talk about all these guys. I don't know much about Monument, but I do know SDJM, APMEX. They're the big 800-pound gorillas. That's why I use them as examples. I suppose I could add more in there, but I can't keep adding to this stuff. Wow, what a beautiful day. What a I'm getting distracted by the walk-by traffic here. Man, life is beautiful sometimes. Joey, what's up? Having your 420 coffee there. So not to change the subject, but why do we have seagulls in southern Maine, 400 miles from the coast? I thought about that for a second, Joe. I said, Joe's not any conspiracy theorist type guy. He probably has been seeing a lot of seagulls. Maybe it has something to do with it's just a huge storm that blew out all the birds out of the north part of Canada, Nova Scotia and stuff. You know, I think during big storms, they move inland. Maybe that's what you're saying. I don't know. Good stab at it on my part. Thanks for watching, Joe. I appreciate that. Tracy, Norman, the storm passed us by here in South Florida. Thankful. Again, it's not whether a storm is going to hit here in my area one day. As a South Floridian and a realist, I understand that we will definitely get hit. It's just a matter of when, not a matter of if, a matter of when. And again, we got lucky on this one. We were very fortunate. Our West Coast brothers were not. Prepared for the monkey hammering. Oh, that storm. Welco Services, what's up? Stay safe. You as well. Roger Darnell. She sold her condo in Naples. Oh man, I don't know. You might be happy she sold it now too, Tree Climber. That place got hammered as well. I guess it just depends on where you are. Ghost Keep Stack. I got to go fishing. You're absolutely right. The water. Look how beautiful. Take a look at this. Who wouldn't? Look at that. I got to get out there, man. It's just just to sit out there and meditate. It's just wonderful. Hang on. Where are we going? Go back to yesterday's video. Premiums are fine. This will be the last time in our lives we'll see sub $20. I said that once before. I did a video, 30,000 views. Well, goodbye $20, sub $20 silver. I keep looking at it and cringing. However, you know, in the video, if you watch the video, I do say many times, as I always say, you know, I'm just surprised if they can do it below 20, and they did. But I also say repeatedly, you know, never underestimate these crooked markets. I just didn't know how crooked and how low they would go to achieve their goals, but they did this time, that's for sure. March 8th this year, gold at an all-time high at 2080, silver at an March 8th, silver at 2750. They knocked it down in since March 8th to that point. A lot of people think, oh, silver's been knocked down longer. No, it hasn't. March 8th from 2750, 2080, gold hit an all-time high on March 8th. Who's talking about that? All-time high. March 8th, too, and look where we're at today. 2080 from where we're at today. Again, this is like if crooks went in and changed all the sticker prices on the filet mignon at Publix and made filet mignon $1 a pound instead of like $21 a pound or whatever the frick it is. You'd stack up to buy it, and that's exactly what you need to do when these crooks lower these prices like this. Watched folks fight over plywood in Boca. Yeah, not recently. I hope they weren't fighting over plywood, because it was pretty obvious from pretty early on that the storm wasn't going to hit this side of the coast here this low. I don't know about you, but I wait till I should say you. I don't know about other folks, but I wait till basically the 3-day mark. I figure once we get into that 4 and 3 day mark, you're pretty much assured that it's going to fall pretty close to that center line. Although we can move to the outside cone, it does happen. You too, Silver Loving Lou. Yep, Silver Liner, I agree. Man, happiness is golden. The other way around works as well. Great show. Thank you, Stephen W. Akeisha made several purchases from Walmart. That just blows my mind. Walmart, they took a credit card, $2.69 an ounce. Oh, there's something wrong with that picture, but you know what? Take advantage of it while you can, Acacia. Absolutely. Hey, well, that's it. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals, asking you to think for yourself and always question authority, and most of all, question what you believe to be the truth. Sometimes what we grew up with and what we were told by media, government, parents, schools to be the truth may not have been the truth. First thing to always do if you want to question authorities is question yourself first. It strengthens your case, and highly recommend you do that. And the resources online, we used to have to go to the library and ask other people things and watch TV to learn stuff. Online, the resources available out there, if you can sift through the stuff, are so tremendous. The ability for you to learn and become much smarter than the average bear out there is so great. This is why I ask you to question yourself first and then question others, and especially authority. Hey, thanks for watching. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. Oh, here's our site right here for that. In beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. We're open 10 to 4 Mondays through Fridays. That's our brick and mortar store. Call us anytime at 954-493-8811 between the hours, again, 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. If you're buying any amount of gold, silver, and platinum, we also do rare coins and paper money and other things too, as cool stuff like that. But precious metals, we'll beat all the locals down here. We'll also beat Atmex, JM, SD, Bullion, and Miles Franklin. And if you're not living in South Florida and you can't come to deal with us, and you're doing, hey, Wall Street Silver guys, it just popped into your page. Sorry about that, but what's up? If you don't live in South Florida and you're buying more than 100 ounces of gold and more than 2,500 ounces of silver, call us at conciergebullion.com. Happy to make these deals happen via wire and other secure methods of payment and shipping. Again, if you're buying more than 100 ounces of gold and more than 2,500 ounces of silver, call us at conciergebullion.com at this number below, or just go to conciergebullion.com. Easy to remember, conciergebullion.com. And it gives us our phone number and our contact information. Again, that's if you live outside the state of Florida, my region. If you live in Florida, this is us. Hey, listen, thanks for watching, folks. Have yourself a wonderful evening, and be thankful that life hasn't handed you a shitty week like those poor folks in the west part of Florida. They're going to be recovered. They're going to take a long time to recover from that. Anyway, good night now. Talk to you later.